Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is part 4 of Kubernetes crash course for .NET developers. So in the first part we discuss about the Kubernetes architectures. Then in the second part we discuss about the pods and deployments, and we created .NET Core Web API pods as well. And in the third video we discuss about the services, and we saw how we can expose our services. We discuss about the load balancers, cluster IP, node port, and different services, and where we can use that. And today we are going to discuss multi-container on one pod. So what we are going to do today is we are going to create, you know, one .NET Core Web API applications, which we already used in our previous video for Docker Compose. And here in the image you can see that this is a hello k8s DB is a one pod, and under this pod we are having a two container. One is for web API and other one is for postgres. And we will create this, and we will see what challenges we are facing when we are going with this approach, and then we will see the possible solution for that. So let's start. So this is a simple application we used in our Docker Compose video previously. I can share that link as well in the description block. There are basically four videos we created for the all the basic stuffs for Docker. So if you have not watched that video, I will highly recommend you to watch that video first. And this is Docker Compose we used to run both the Postgres and this API solutions. So let me first run and show these applications. So I am at the Docker Compose file locations. Let me list out and show you the Docker Compose file here. So here you can see the Docker composed file we are having here. Now let's run Docker Compose up command. So my application is listening on 8080 for HTTP and 8081 for HTTPS. So there are one more video to run the Dockerize and run your application with HTTPS protocol. Few steps we need to follow for that. So if you have not watched that, make sure you have watched that video as well. Now let me move to browser and see the application. So yeah, this is a URL. Let's wait for this to complete and load. Yeah. So now let me try to create some employee first. Maybe hello YouTube, and let's remove this ID from here and execute. So we received 200. Now let's go to get employees, and we can see that we received a response. So now this application is working with the Docker Compose. Now we are going to change it to run with the Kubernetes. So first let me stop this, and here we can see that we have Docker Compose file, right? So similar way I will at root I will create one folder as we created earlier, and we will give name as a k8s, and under the k8s I am going to create one file, and maybe we will say hello Docker simple deploy main.yaml file. Now we will do again same thing. We can search for Kubernetes deployment documentations. So directly you can search for Kubernetes deployment. You will find this deployment, and so it is always good to copy so that you will not have even any syntax mistakes. If you know the things, then there is no harm to copy and use it. So let's copy this and paste it here. Now kind will be deployment name. Maybe we will say hello k8s deployment, and app maybe we will say hello k8s. This is level we will give. Replica, let's keep it 3. Here I will give same hello k8s. Here also I will give same hello k8s. And image, we need to use our image, right? So we need to generate one Docker image as well. That part I missed. So here you can see that this Docker file we generated in our previous video. Now let's create an image and push it to Docker Hub first. So let's clear this, and to generate an image, what command we are going to use? Yes, correct, Docker build command, then tag, and after that I need to give my Docker username, that is TUBEYTAPN12. Here you need to give your username, and then anything you can give. Maybe I will say hello k8s db test, and then file. In my file, Docker file is under, if you will see here, under the Docker sample test folder, right? So I will say hello Docker sample test slash Docker file, and at the end I will add dot for local context and hit enter. So it is started building my image. Let's open the Docker Hub as well. So remember previously we pushed one image to Docker Hub. Similar way we are generating and pushing this image to Docker Hub. So this is my ID what we used, and to prefix with to give the image name. And this is a previous image what we pushed to Docker Hub. So now our image is ready. Let's list out the images to re-verify. I will run Docker images command. So here we can see that this Dubey Tapan 12 hello k8s db test is the new image is created, right? Now let's copy this, and let's push this to Docker Hub. So I will use Docker push command, and let's wait for this to push this image to Docker Hub. So it will take some times, and once this will be pushed successfully, then we should see this recently pushed image in Docker Hub. So now maybe I can go back to Docker Hub and refresh it. So we can see that our new image is also available on Docker Hub. So now let's change this. Let's move back to our YAML file, and we were here, right? So let's change this name, container name, maybe hello k8s I will give, and image name, let's change this to Dubey Tapan 12 slash hello k8s db test, whatever we used in the Docker Compose, right? Here, from here you can copy. And port, if you will see the Docker file, let me open the Docker file. So we are exposing 8080 and 8081. So maybe port I will give 8080 here. Now, instead of adding a DB, now let me add the service first, and then we will just try to access our applications, and then we will add another container. So to start another resource configuration, we can add this 3 dash here, and then after that we can continue. So for service also, let's search for Kubernetes documentation. Instead of deployment, I will say services, and it will open this service. And here, if you will scroll down, we can see this service. So let's copy this service. Let's copy this and paste it here. Kind will be service only. Name, maybe I will say hello k8s service, and selector. So now this selector should match with this, right? So let's copy this select call labels and paste it here. Then only that link between the pod and service will be created, right? So let's meet the selectors here, and port we should have 8080 here, and even for target port also I'm going to add 8080. So yeah, we are done. Let's go back to the browser, and here let me clear this first. Let's list out all the content. So here we can see this k8s. So let's move inside this k8s folder what we created. So cd k8s. Let's clear this again, and let's run list ls command again. So we can see that here we are having our deployment file, and before that maybe let's run kubectl get pods. So this is our previous example pod, and kubectl get services. So we can see that our previous example service and pod is running. Let me clear this again and let's list it. And now we are going to create a pod and service for our this example, where we are going to run the multiple containers in the same pod, one for Postgres and another one for Web API. So let's run kubectl apply command, and then we can give the our file name, and let me copy and paste it here. Okay, so we are getting the deployment. Okay, it is deployment. Yeah. So I think we in the last example also, when we created a deployment, we gave the same name. Maybe we can cross verify. Let me run kubectl get deployment command. So here we can see that we give the same name, and because of that we are getting this error. So maybe let's verify. Let's change the deployment name here a bit. Okay, it is DB deployment. Maybe I will say, and let's save this. Now let me run this again. So this time we can see that our deployment is created and our server service is already created in the previous one, so it is showing unchanged now. Now let me run the kubectl get pods command. Let's run kubectl get pods command again. So we are getting some crash loopback of error. So now let's see how can we understand what is the error. So maybe there are a few commands which we can run against our pod and deployment and see what's going on. So let's run kubectl logs and then we can give the pod name. So we are getting that host can't be null. So yeah, there are a few if you will see our code. So we are passing this connection string and we are using this in our code. In the DB context, if you will see our DB context, so here we are passing the connections and we are using it. So because of that we are getting this error, we need to pass the host as well. So let's go back to our YAML file. And here we need to pass the environment. So I will say env. One first environment variable I'm going to pass. If you will see here, that Swagger is going to run only for the development environment. So maybe I will say our environment is development. So here I will say ASP net core underscore environment. And this I will say for value development. And another thing which we need to pass is the connection string. So if you will see the app settings dot development dot json. So employee connection we need to pass, right? So let's add name here. So here this employee connection is coming under the connection string, right? So let me copy this connection string first. Then to underscore I'm going to add for the next level. And then I will say I will copy this employee connection. And here we need to pass the value. So value maybe for now let's copy as it is. Okay, now let's try to build our application. It will still not work because database is that local host. It will not find this port and database, right? But let's see what error we are getting. So let me go back here and let's apply this. Now let's run kubectl get ports command again. So here we can see that another one is in the container creating status for 8 seconds. Let's give some time and let's run kubectl get ports command again. So now I'm running kubectl get ports command again, and so our for that new container is also still showing crash loop back off. So let's see what is the issue and what error this time we are getting. So let's copy this fourth port and let me run kubectl logs, and then I will give the name of this port. So this time, yeah, our it is able to read our configuration. We can see that host local host port 5 is the user ID, SA password YouTube database employee, and it is saying failed to connect because we did not added our database that is still not available. So now what I'm going to do is we are going to run the two container in the one pod. So here we have a configuration for our for our web API, right? So I'm going to add another container here. So maybe I can copy this and paste it here. Now name, maybe I will say hello postgres. Image, we need to take the postgres image, right? So let's search in the Docker Hub. Postgres Docker. So here we can see that Postgres official image. Let's open this. So this is a Postgres, the name of the image. So let's copy this, and different tags is available. So we are going to use Alpine. So let's come back here and now let me add image name as Postgres and tag I will say Alpine. And this is that Postgres, as we know, it runs on port 5432. So maybe I will change the port to 5432, and in the environment we need to pass the different stuffs like if we will scroll down, so we can pass the Postgres database password. So let's copy this, and password what we added in the connection string, it is YouTube, so make sure we are adding the same password. So I'm copying the same and let's paste it. So password we added, we need to add the you know this user ID and database as well, right? So let's move back. So user we can pass with this environment variable. So let's copy this, and here I will say let's replace this one with the Postgres user, and what user we added here, SA, right? So let's add SA here. And now let's copy this entire thing and paste it here. And now the third thing which we need is the postgres DB. So let's copy this variable, paste it here, and DB database what we are using is employee. So let's copy this employee and add this in the value. And yeah, that's all. So now go back to our terminal. Let's clear this all. And now we will run kubectl apply command again. So let me run kubectl apply, and let's run kubectl get pods command. So we can see that it is in the container creating status. So let's wait for it, and this time instead of 0 of 1 it is saying 0 of 2. That means two container is it is having two container, and it is still in the container creating status. So let's give some time, and we'll run get pods command again. Now I'm running kubectl get pods command again. So this time we can see that one in the running status and 2 out of 2 is you know container is running. So our you know our pod is in the healthy status, and slowly it will replace the other pods with the running status, because replica we have defined as the 3. So let's wait for one more minute, and then it should be in the ready status. Now I'm running kubectl get pods command again, and hopefully this time our all three pods should be up and in the up and running status. So let's run kubectl get pods, and this time we can see that our all pods are running, and 2 out of 2 means both the container is running. Now we created one service as well, right? Let's list out this service kubectl get service. And one thing which we missed in the service is, like, when we discuss about the service, if you want to expose our service publicly, it should be a load balancer type. But if we are not defining the type, then by default it is taking as a cluster IP. So let's come here, and here I will say type is load balancer, and let's save this, and let's run kubectl apply command again. So this time we can see that this time it is saying deployment is unchanged and service is configured. So let's clear all this for better visibility, and let's run kubectl get service command again. So here this time we can see that it is a load balancer type, so we can expose this, right? And to expose this, there's a one more step we need to do it when we are running on the minikube. We need to tell minikube like this is a service we are having, so minikube service, and then I can give the name of this service. So let's give this name, and then minikube will give a one URL for us to view that service. So let's hit enter, and let's wait for minikube to execute this and share the URL for us to access this. So now we can see that minikube has provided this URL to us. So let's try to open this. And here I will say swagger/index.html, So great, I am able to access the page. Now let's see if I am able to post some data or not. So I'm going to post something, maybe I will say test test and submit this. So we see 200. Now let's go to get employee. So we got this record what we added, right? Test. Now let's add few more record, maybe test 1 and test 2, and let's try to run the get employees again. So we received all the 3 records, but same time let's open one more window in incognito mode and let's try to access this get employees from that new uh, browser window. So see, we are this time we are not getting the response. We are not getting anything. Now let me try to post something here. Maybe I will say new one new one and execute this. So we received 200, and now let's try to execute this. So we received this new one here, but let's move to this browser window and execute this. So I'm not seeing this new one in this window, and the reason is behind that is because now we are having a 3 pods. So our traffic is moving to the different pods, and our database is running uh, under the same pod container. We are having 2 containers, right? So uh, each pod is having a different database. So whenever the traffic is moving to different pod, then we are not seeing the same data. So in the next video, we will see how can we fix this, and we will try to move our database from inside the container. Maybe we will create a separate pod for that, and then in the upcoming videos we will see the better approach and some real-time scenario where we should keep the database. So that's all for this video, but before we end, let's have a quick knowledge check. So here we will see the few questions related what we discuss in this video, and there will be 4 options. Maybe you can stop the video, or you will get 10 seconds to answer that questions, and I will recommend if you can stop the video and think and share your answer in the comment box. Like question 1 answer is this, question 2 answer is this. uh, that will be a very good idea. So let's begin. So question 1 is, what is command to view logs of pod? So as we remember, we executed some command to view the logs for the pod when we got some errors. So what command we used? There are 4 options. Number 1 option is kubectl logs, then pod name. Kubectl get logs, then pod name. Kubectl get pods command, and kubectl get pod, then pod name. So you are having 10 seconds to answer this question, and your time starts now. Yeah, so time up. Your correct answer for this question is kubectl logs, then pod name. Now moving to the next question. If this is my connection string, how can I add key of this in YAML environment. So if you remember, we added a key for our connection strings in our YAML file environment. So what is the correct way to read this from the configuration file? So there are four options. Number one option is connection string dash employee connection string. Number two option is connection string underscore single underscore employee connection. Number three is connection strings space employee connection. And last option is connection strings and then a double underscore employee connection. You are having a 10 seconds to answer this question and your time starts now. So correct option is connection strings double underscore. Here you can see this double underscore employee connection. So that's all for this video. In the next video, what basically we are going to do is we will move this database connector container. Instead of same pod, we will create a different pod for that. Number one thing is that, and the number two important thing what we are going to do is we added few configuration like database username, password, and all as a hard coded. But we will see where we can move this instead of adding that hard-coded values, where we can move and maybe we will use config map to read that values. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and please share your valuable feedback. Thank you.